In this world, there exist monstrous beasts, and the deities take the form of prophets. However, some people emerge in this life due to the evil gods. Faced with the myriad of creatures in the deep forest, a man, by merely performing a small act, finds himself surrounded by a pack of wolves and tigers. They are indeed the kings of this forest. What a pity that today you've encountered someone you shouldn't have messed with. To be precise, he is the incarnation of the black dragon god. The underlings of the Wolf King, unable to cope, leap forward only to be easily subdued. No matter how much they struggle, they cannot escape from this terrifying shadow. At this moment, a figure appears in the deep forest, driven solely by the instinct to survive. The man who is fleeing is unaware that another person has a dagger pointed at him. The bandits, seeing this, just laugh mockingly. "We need to hurry. It's dangerous out here in the woods tonight." Yet, many monstrous creatures also appear. I wonder if you've noticed, but there are far fewer beasts on this path than before. Before he could finish, the bearded man was stunned by the sight before him. The ground was a chaotic mess, with the bodies of the fallen marked by horrific bite marks. It seemed less like the aftermath of a battle for territory and more like a one-sided massacre. At that moment, one of the bandits suddenly shouted out to the crowd, "Everyone, come look at this." They spotted a man with pitch-black arms sitting motionless beside the Wolf King. Could this guy be the leader of the wolf pack? In other words, he is the one responsible for all this chaos. What nonsense are you talking about? How could a human inflict such bites and wounds? Just as the bandit reached out to check the situation, he was bitten fiercely by a creature that resembled a lizard. Don't panic if something happens. This little creature can be taken down with just one stab. The bald man barely raised his hand when a powerful blow interrupted him. What's going on? Pain rushed in, and he cried out in despair. "Shut up! You dare touch the others. Anyone who still intends to strike him will meet the same fate." Seeing this, everyone drew their weapons and advanced step by step. Clearly, a fierce battle was inevitable. The bearded man, seeing everyone hesitate, immediately shouted, "This man has killed Hans." I glanced briefly at the body on the ground and continued, "It's all right. He's got about 2 minutes left. If you leave now, there's still time." Clearly, these words were nothing but provocation in the eyes of the bandits. "Everyone, attack. Let's show this kid what it means when the white knife goes in and the golden knife comes out." Seeing their intention to fight, the man quickly pulled a black axe from his side. With his anger rising, dark scales began to spread across his body. The young man also took a fighting stance. As the leading bandit gave the command, the group charged towards us. I remained calm, slightly bending my knees before executing a powerful slash, leaving behind a trail of corpses and pained groans in my wake. Everyone was pushed back by the speed and strength of this monster. The archers, though a bit frightened, quickly aimed at the attacker from behind. The man felt uneasy and turned around, only to realize it was too late. One hand gripping his younger brother tightly under him, despite the sword piercing his back. The burly man with the beard, feeling assured of victory, suddenly sensed something was off. His expression shifted to one of fear. Suddenly, flames of black and red erupted from the man's back. The sword turned to ash in an instant. Black armor began to coalesce around his entire body. The flames morphed into various monstrous shapes in the air, as if a flood had burst its banks. A massive black dragon head appeared before everyone. The roar echoed through the sky, making it clear this was no joke. They had never witnessed anything so grand, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. The dark phosphor was about to engulf the man completely. After a moment of struggling within himself, he finally regained his composure. The beasts formed from the flames dissipated in that instant. "Damn it, we need to run." The younger brother looked at the man anxiously. The dark figure in the tree next to them let out a chilling laugh. Fortunately, even though the group of bandits suffered heavy losses, they didn't immediately deal with the man, but took him back to their hideout. The leader of the bandits recognized the monster before them and turned pale. This is the legend of the Dark Monarch, the king of all beasts in this forest. Could it all really be his doing? The younger brother, tightly bound by wooden planks, was clearly resentful. When the man awoke, he immediately alerted everyone. You all better deal with the Wolf King immediately, or this won't end well." Just as the captain was about to unleash a string of curses, the leader grabbed him tightly and asked, "What's your name?" "Ao Tian, dragon." "Enough of your nonsense, Ao Tian. Ao Tian do as I say now, or you will all die here." The captain, noticing that the leader was starting to waver, immediately began to assert himself. "Don't believe his lies. We've witnessed him transform into a terrifying monster. Haven't you heard the recent rumors swirling around Sanchez? They say a demon incarnate roams this land, emerging wherever there's moisture, to hunt for its prey. Wherever he passed, not a blade of grass was left standing. This completely matched the scene we encountered when we first entered the forest. This guy is definitely the embodiment of an evil deity in human form." Hearing this, the dragon Outhian couldn't help but laugh out loud. "What are you laughing at? Don't think I won't dare to touch you. You say I'm the embodiment of an evil deity, even eating creatures only found in mythology. Do you really think such a small chain can bind me?" The captain, hearing this, found himself at a loss for words. As the moon gradually appeared, a gentle breeze swept over the Wolf King's body. The dark night now had a hint of light. A few drops of tomato sauce fell, causing the leader to feel uneasy as he slowly lifted his head. The severely injured Wolf King was revived, his mouth still clamped tightly around the captain. "I told you before to handle him quickly. He is no longer the Wolf King, but has become a creature like a puppet of the evil deity, a monster even more terrifying than when he was alive." At this moment, the pack of wolves was heading toward their den. Behind them was a mysterious dark figure exuding the aura of a king. Wherever he passed, the grass and trees quickly withered. He gently pointed in one direction, and the wolf corpses, ignoring their pain, formed a staircase of wolves, rushing into the den as if charging into a feast. The entrance of the cave immediately collapsed. In the chaos, it accidentally knocked over a pile of fire. The flames erupted instantly, engulfing the pack of wolves. However, the wolf corpses kept pouring into the den. The Grim Reaper outside let out a victorious roar. Suddenly, a dark figure charged out from within the cave. It's the skull of the Wolf King. This head was thrown away without mercy. "Didn't you think to ask for my opinion, Manhwa?" The god of death gazed at the army, only to see a dark figure cutting through the flames, continuously mumbling to itself. The aura emanating around it formed the shape of a black dragon. It was a killing intent that felt like it came from hell, and it resembled the fear of prey being stalked by a hunter. At that moment, I realized I was being devoured, turning into a stiff black dragon. Facing death was just a girl who could only cry out. Just moments ago, Ao Thian had managed to dodge the thick flames surrounding him, which exuded a pressure that made it hard to breathe. What appeared before me was a being like the Grim Reaper. "I have one flaw: I can't do anything well, except when you sense the powerful killing intent from the creature before you." The Grim Reaper's response was a deafening roar. Immediately behind him, a terrifying scene unfolded. Countless wild beasts and zombies, warriors who disregarded their pain. However, this was of no use. Just a slight leap served as a warning. An attack from the pack of wild beasts, who didn't even understand why, was launched into the air. The beasts could only resist for 2.5 seconds against this storm-like assault. Seeing this, the Grim Reaper grew even angrier. 2 streams of deadly energy shot out from the eye sockets, accompanied by an ancient incantation. The figure of the Grim Reaper radiated a strange power, its size and strength multiplying exponentially. The roars of both sides echoed through the air, and fierce slashes transformed into a crimson light. In the air, they intertwined with each other. "Do you really think you can kill me?" A powerful punch sent the Grim Reaper stumbling back several meters. In an instant, he discarded the Grim Reaper's arms, and the scales on his body fell off in that very moment. The ruined body of the Grim Reaper appeared utterly pitiful. Althien slowly approached and was surprised to find that inside the body of the Grim Reaper was a girl with skin as white as snow. "Don't ask me why it's like this. It's unpredictable," he thought. At that moment, Althien realized the peculiarity of this woman. Her eyes were empty, as if she was soulless. Suddenly, a bizarre figure swiftly glided through the air, stopping mid-flight. It was a penguin. What a truly great day today, without end, isn't it? The penguin stared intently at Aotian for 2.5 seconds before its form gradually morphed into that of an old man, who finally spoke up. "This is simply unbelievable. I never expected you could defeat the puppet I cherished." Before she could finish, the white-haired girl was pushed away by Aotian. "She's noisy like a bird." "Oh, that's right, she originally is a bird. If you want to fight, stop babbling at me. I don't care about your tendencies or your past." Hearing this, the old man once again summoned the bird's head and wings. "Once you're dealt with, well, have a puppet stronger than that deer," he declared. Rising at the command of the old man, the previously dead and the wild beasts were endowed with new souls. Aotian looked around and thought to himself, is the old man really right? Those previous things were utterly pointless. When the old man called out, an endless army of undead surged towards Aotian. In an instant, the vast army had surrounded him. "There's no way out now. Look, kid, do you still dare to be arrogant? Your power is nothing now." The powerful strike from Kwon pierced through the mind. "Old man, I thought you would bring me some surprises, but now all I see is your wide-eyed shock. Take a good look at who the real prey is." Just as a red light flared up, the army of zombies instantly transformed into executioners. The scene before Kwon-don, who hadn't wet himself in 2.5 years, now left him speechless. "What the hell is this that frightens me so?" Not only was it Aotian's strength, but also the breath he exhaled that formed a black dragon head. "It's time to say goodbye, old man." As the dragon's mouth opened, blood and brain matter fell. In that moment, Kwon-da split into 4 pieces. This is just the beginning. What awaits him is not mere stomach acid, but a horde of monsters converging to form an Asura hell. Before long, he will be torn apart as these monsters feast, mocking him. "Welcome to the team, new buddy." As Kwon-ga fell, the white-haired girl's eyes gradually became clearer. The scene before her was so overwhelming that she could hardly regain her composure. The dark aura obscured the sky like monstrous waves, leaving her weak and trembling, only able to whimper. Atuin noticed that her recovery was evident with just a glance. The girl with the white hair was so shocked that she stood frozen, unable to even swallow. She feared that even the slightest movement could provoke the murderous intent of the man before her. Atuin suddenly seemed to remember something and asked, "Have you escaped the control of the god of demons yet?" Upon hearing this, the girl felt a wave of pain wash over her. A bright figure appeared in her memory, with dazzling white wings that were almost blinding. Atuin sensed the mention of wings and immediately grew alert. "If I'm not mistaken, you, like me, are a victim of those wings, aren't you?" The girl with the white hair looked at Atuin, confused. She didn't understand his question. But Atuin's next words completely shattered her understanding. Transforming into a massive black dragon after the defeat of Kwon-ga and the god of death, what stood before him now was a girl who could not fight back. "No matter how cruel it may seem, there are some things I have to tell you. I am a descendant of dragons, one of the few survivors of that genocide, and the deity you worship is the true perpetrator of this massacre." After hearing this, the girl with the white hair bowed her head. "I don't understand what you're saying." The sudden dizziness made the girl with the white hair collapse onto the ground. He remained calm. "Perhaps I've overloaded you with too much information at once, and you can't handle it." At this moment, the girl felt as if she were sinking into her own dream. This scene was both familiar and foreign to her. Years had passed, but what had she done wrong? Why wouldn't they let her go? Everyone viewed her as a bloodthirsty monster, yet clearly that was not who she was. As a tear slowly fell, the reflection she saw was the one thing the girl with the white hair dreaded the most. Hope and despair intertwined. Yet, what was unfolding before her made it impossible for her to deny that she was the cause of it all. Just when she was drowning in confusion, a brilliant light suddenly flashed behind her. Everything came just in time, warm and comforting. "Is it really possible to sleep so soundly in this strange dream I thought you wouldn't wake up at all? Looking at the pained expression on your sleeping face, I just know you're having a nightmare. Luby, come here for a moment." Atuin's voice caught the attention of the girl with the white hair. "Hey buddy, I'll leave the next task to you." From his mouth, tiny sparks began to gather, and in an instant, a flame erupted, engulfing the mountainous pile of debris. The souls that didn't belong to these monsters were now completely freed. This method of working truly suits the nature of those lunatics. Finally, it's done. Time to relax a bit. Hey, you forgot something. No, it's obvious you really put in a lot of effort this time. What is going on? Oh, shut up, you guy who always peddles useless information. After saying that, he pointed at the white-haired girl and continued to scold her. Is this the kind of information you give me, and you're still mocking me? The mission is complete. Now hurry up and hand over the gold. Don't rush. People are really hurting here. The rabbit had just stood up and turned to the white-haired girl. Can you tell me your name? My full name is Diga Maricia, but you can call me Dia. I can't believe I'm meeting a victim just like a twin. The rabbit is doomed if you don't want me to take you to Lubi for dinner. Got it. Hello, Hojia. Let's get going. As the pocket watch emitted a glow, the ground around them began to tremble violently. Suddenly, the three of them fell down through a passageway. Dia screamed at the abrupt fall, sweat trickling down his forehead. Why are these two so foolish? They didn't even give a warning. Upon opening his eyes, he was stunned by the sight before him. Is this really a legendary scene? Sorry, Dia, I was late to introduce myself. You shouldn't apologize to me for suddenly digging a hole like that. I'm the biggest information trader on this continent and a member of the Rabbit Clan. You can call me Buck too. A twin, and I have an unusual relationship. The sacred tree we're standing in front of is known as the Buck Lien Thu. Wait a minute. I really appreciate you saving me from that evil deity, but why bring me here, things? If you want to know, just follow me. I'll give you a satisfactory answer. When Dia asked Atuyan about the transformation, Atuyan's response was a stinky roasted chicken. Just by sticking a feather in, you can declare yourself a god. Seeing Dia's skeptical expression, Baktu continued to explain. The wings, just like those of the gods, will grant power. But his power feels more like a curse. After hearing this, Dia fell into deep thought. This is the largest slave market in this cafe. They are all captives of slave hunters, those who are on the run. As long as the price is right in this market, there isn't a slave they can't find, including the powerful Baktu. Dia paused, looking puzzled. So, what are you bringing me here for? You'll find out soon. Atuyan kicked Dia, making him spin 2.5 times. Is this guy out of his mind? Just as Dia was about to curse, he realized something was off. In this dark, cramped dungeon, there were so many people tied up. They are live sacrifices for the transformation. Ha! The sacred tree you see outside has grown this large because of these sacrifices. And Atuyan's next words left Dia in shock. A man had brought this woman into the dark dungeon. Although their paths are different, they all share the same goal to transform into a demon at the top of the tree. Just moments ago, Atuyan and Dia exchanged glances through the bars. If you want to meet the transformation, you have to bait. Dia couldn't believe that the man who had just saved him. I'll leave this girl to you. I need to head to the arena first. Just as Atuyan was about to depart, Dia shouted out, Wait, can you answer me one question? Are all the people imprisoned here due to your actions? So what if they are? Doesn't that mean you can finally meet your beloved transformation? Atuyan replied, I am still human. To achieve my goals, I won't hesitate to use any means necessary. These weak individuals are innocent. Don't you feel the slightest bit guilty? Upon hearing this, Atuyan remained silent, looking at Dia for 2.5 seconds before shaking his head and walking away. This guy doesn't even need to get his hands dirty, yet he can still do whatever he wants. Meanwhile, Bai Zi's words nearly drove him insane. Don't forget that these captives are sacrifices for the transformation you worship. Thinking about their fate makes it hard for me not to shed tears. It's truly disgusting that the rabbit dies. I enjoy seeing you despise me, but being unable to kill me. And even now, you are still controlled by the evil deity. The people you've imprisoned are just a small fraction compared to those you've killed. Even if it wasn't your intent, you can hardly escape the guilt. Atuyan and I both understand your feelings because we share the same enemy. And the transformation is still at the White Lotus Temple. It's up at the top of this tree. Only those who offer sacrifices to the shrine can qualify for a ticket to the arena. The reward for the victor isn't just the power from the White Lotus tree, they can also become the protector of the transformation. What has a twin truly experienced? It's hard to explain all the details, but one thing I can say is he is not just a descendant of the Black Dragon, he is also the embodiment of vengeance, having endured the pain of his clan's destruction. He may have already surpassed that great being. At another part of the arena, a twin was preparing for battle. "How far along is the task you assigned?" Bai Zi replied proudly. "Everything is going according to your plan." A twin, this person has finally softened and chosen the hardest path. If he had resolved from the beginning to indiscriminately massacre innocent people, it would be easy for him to attract the enemy's attention. But if he goes through with it, he will cross the line between human and monster. After that, living a human life will no longer be an option. Do you dare to look at me like I'm some kind of worm? No, I wouldn't dream of it. I just can't seem to digest that old bird properly. Think of it as a warm-up exercise after a meal. All I need to do is stand by and watch. Ubi will take care of you. If I come back and find even a single hair missing from him, don't be surprised if you find yourself enjoying another meal tonight. I may say that, but does the big guy Luby even have hair? Don't dodge the issue. It's time to teach these clueless chickens what it means to be human. Right now, in the arena, the fourth small team is ready. The previous teams couldn't last even 2 seconds. Honestly, I just want to go home. With hands and feet like these, it's not easy to deal with things. We have to hold our formation and not give him a chance. This guy has claws with incredible strength. Hey, you're blocking my way. Anyone with hands can do this, so why make it so complicated? What a cocky little brat. Just a human, and yet he dares to provoke me. Today, you'll pay for your foolishness. Next time, keep in mind not to be so arrogant. Black Tiger, tear out his heart. Oh my, he's still showing no restraint. This guy has extraordinary speed and strength. Could this be the feeling of excitement? It's time to end this, little wildcat. When Aochin's roar echoed, the crowd's cheers erupted in a frenzy. Clean your neck and wait. It won't be long before I come and pluck each feather from you, then devour you alive. Aochin entered this battle not just to grab a branch to meet the Avatar, but also because the White Lotus God had a very solid defense. Direct invasion is impossible. To execute this plan, a good bait is needed to stir up chaos within the enemy, and Dia is the perfect choice for this revenge plan. As the doors of the White Lotus Temple slowly opened, everyone was led into a realm of despair that they would have to endure. Dia stepped in and was stunned by the sight before him. He never expected that the White Lotus Temple on the sacred tree would be such a magnificent palace. The sudden pressure made Dia feel terrified. Could he really be the one? No need to be that scared. Welcome to the shrine of the goddess. Those lost in the deep abyss of fear, lift your heads high. Oh my, is this divine? I am the master of the White Lotus Tree and also the earthly avatar of the goddess Iodine. The compassionate goddess has granted me the strength to confront all darkness. My full name is a thorn lying in a suitcase. You may call me Kawaii. Being chosen as a sacrifice is your blessing. Your bodies will attain immortality alongside this sacred tree. But just then, a sudden scream in the temple cut off his speech. Please spare my sister. Please spare my sister. She's still so young. Kawaii smiled and stepped forward, saying, Those with kind hearts, show your reverence for the goddess with a noble heart. Thank you. The flame of hope in everyone's hearts was mercilessly extinguished. In his fury, Dia recognized the harsh truth: I must eliminate you. How touching, this sisterly bond. In reality, your sister has been freed from fear and can now embark on her journey. You all should be extremely grateful to me. At this moment, the Guardians felt something unusual. This woman is a bit off. It gradually emanated from Dia's body. The Guardians were shocked by the appearance of the giant before them. This nightmare has some issues. My body won't move. You're not a savior at all. Stop pretending. This is interesting. Among the offerings was a transformation. Illusory deaths continued to pour out and slowly formed. The sudden screams from everyone caught Dia's attention. Monster, help me. The terrified gazes of the crowd reignited his deep-seated fears. Am I really going to have to go back? Yet the words of the person before him snapped him back to reality. Don't resist, find yourself again. I don't know who you are, but I sincerely thank you. As a mysterious power awakened, a strong force from the forest suddenly emerged. In an instant, everyone was surrounded by incredibly strong tree trunks. "Don't be afraid, everyone. I will save all of you." What's happening? Dia saw the little deer daring to be arrogant before him. Even with your two different powers, your transformation is just an anonymous figure from a distant place. It seems like you've been in this desolate place for too long. I have a resounding name, Druids, the embodiment of the wild. Little deer, perhaps you've never witnessed divine power when the branches grow. Gigantic warhammer appeared. The hammer shot forth powerfully towards Kawaii. It's the might of the divine that forces you to submit, not to dance before me. Dia's concentrated will easily shattered the hammer. This powerful explosion immediately caught everyone's attention. Aoqian was also taken aback by how quickly everything unfolded. What was happening before Dia made him realize that this person and he were definitely not on the same level of transformation. In the sky, a gigantic golden bird's nest hung in midair. As a sudden snap echoed, the birdcage plummeted to the ground. Dia was bewildered as he caught sight of a colossal figure emerging from the smoke, leaving him dazed for 2.5 seconds. Oh, you're going to transform too, aren't you? This bird is extremely dangerous, you should run. Dia suddenly snapped back to reality. When did those two bones protrude? I didn't even get a good look at its creature. Your courage truly impresses me, but what a pity. With your tiny frame, you wouldn't be enough to even stuff into the gaps of my teeth for the girl who holds my soul. Even the protection you dream of hides an incredibly daunting ability and secret. Right at this moment, Aoqian had defeated the last monster in the arena. As this life-and-death battle came to a close, the Guardians prepared rewards for the victor. Beside Duke Hakimi, it seemed he was plotting something as well, and the item in this chest was the key that led to the peak of the White Lotus tree. Meanwhile, Dia in the temple had been seriously injured by the protruding bones. Standing behind him were the people he had protected. In front of him appeared a fox spirit with an unpredictable power, making Dia's situation increasingly dire. Take a good look at the people behind you. It's because of this monster that they feel fear. Am I the real monster here? That's actually not a bad idea. Given the current situation, Dia has only one option left. That is to transform into the Grim Reaper and beat down the evil standing before you. Seeing this bloodthirsty monster, Kawaii also felt a bit intrigued. I admit, your determination has touched me. If I use this move, how would you respond? Dia suddenly turned around, sensing something was off. Just then, the ground shook violently. In the blink of an eye, those within the protective shield were frozen. Under the feet of the bird fox, a flurry of branches shot up from the ground, continuously stabbing into its body. This is the great art bestowed upon me by the goddess, Witness, the might of the goddess. You should feel incredibly fortunate. Just as the words left my lips, the branches of Baklian glowed red. Gradually, they converged toward the body of the divine bird. The essence of this red light is the royal souls trapped in those branches. The comfortable feeling brought by this power made Kawaii feel joyous. He waved his hand, and the trees created by Dia quickly withered and collapsed. The Guardians sensed this power, and their bodies began to undergo unusual transformations. The immortal puppets were born. The roar of the soul of the bird fox nearly overwhelmed Dia, and he found himself unable to move under the pressure. How unfortunate I can't use my powers at all. Kawaii's hand gently lifted, and Dia was immediately wrapped tightly. Remember whose territory you're in. Your transformation in front of me is merely a snack, you arrogant deer. I'm giving you a chance to survive. It's 1,000 plus 7. If you want to kill, then go ahead. I don't want to see your disgusting face. Just as Kawaii was about to raise his hand to deal with the enemy, the door suddenly opened, and a flash of red light shot out as a shadow lunged straight at Kawaii. At that moment, Aoqian also noticed Dia. He chuckled lightly, saying, "You two are having quite the fun, aren't you?" Kawaii also noticed the branches of Baklin. He has truly exploited the rules of the arena to assassinate me. Looking outside the temple, everything had turned into chaos, and as Aoqian got a clearer view of Kawaii, his suspicion grew. "Hey, I told you to find the transformation of the wings. What are you fooling around with?" This statement startled Dia for 2.5 seconds. "You annoying brat, shut your mouth. How dare you insult my great wing transformation? Just watch, I'll tear your mouth apart and spit out that nonsense tongue." So that's how it is. White Cat, you should know that the fool before you is not the wing transformation. Meanwhile, outside the temple, Hakimi swiftly eliminated one of the guardians with a powerful slash. The battle between the two sides had entered a fierce stage. "Brothers, charge with me." Leaving no survivors, the unusual sounds from behind the door captured his attention. As soon as he stepped through the door, he was stunned by the scene before him. The stairs inside were littered with corpses and dismembered body parts of the guardian avatars. Back inside the temple, the battle between Aotian and the three others was about to begin. Dia heard Aotian's words and immediately expressed her skepticism. It turned out he was an imposter. Isn't that a pointless statement? The goddess granted him such a grand title precisely because he possesses 3 pairs of white wings. And this avatar before them didn't even have a single appropriate pair of wings. How is that any different from a running chicken now? In response to the absurdity that made me laugh, I feel it's only right to reward you accordingly. When Kawaii heard this, he looked genuinely surprised. This guy actually understands the concept of winged avatars so well. With a single command, the transformed guards immediately charged at Aotian. This was a fierce battle of revenge and demons, marking the beginning of a cycle of survival and destruction. At that moment, Aotian transformed into a dragon claw. With just a swing of his hand, he could sever the divine tree. Finally free from Kawaii's control, he thanked Aotian once more for saving him. "Stop talking nonsense. You'll handle the rest. You can go wherever you want." At this moment, Dia noticed a surge of power emanating from the dry tree trunks, but her concern was directed towards the 2 children. Aotian suddenly felt a wave of danger. He immediately shouted at Dia, "Run!" Just then, as the guards attacked in close combat, their heads were swatted away by Aotian's claws. As the power gradually surged, countless bones erupted like a torrential downpour. In an instant, Aotian was buried under that force, while Dia found herself in a perilous situation. The fallen protectors shielded the 2 children before her. As the thick smoke began to dissipate, the figure of Aotian emerged, resembling a black dragon. The bird-like creature hadn't even had a chance to react before the dark figure of Aotian, with its massive body, collapsed to the ground, headless. Aotian reacted, but it was too late. "I admit you truly are strong enough to witness the full extent of the power bestowed upon me by the goddess." Just as he finished speaking, a strange halo appeared behind Kawaii, with 11 claws pointed directly at the fallen Aotian. Dia sensed that the situation was dire. "This is bad. This guy is coming for me." Snarling, Kawaii thought it was insane to approach him with that filthy mouth. The branches in the swamp not only tore apart Aotian's 2 arms, but also created larger waves surrounding the enemy. With a furious roar from Aotian, dark energy poured out from his wounds. A larger dragon claw suddenly appeared. This sight left Kawaii stunned for 2.5 seconds. Suddenly, I came up with a bold idea, unsure whether to voice it or not. Aotian compressed his rage from his severed arms into his powerful palm, swinging it out as his life force swiftly erupted forth. Kawaii quickly used his magic staff to block the attack, but he unexpectedly met a tragic end. After being struck, Kawaii let out a horrified scream that sounded like a mother hen laying an egg. His transformed form disintegrated in that instant. Dia, witnessing everything, couldn't help but break into a cold sweat, relieved that Aotian had held back. Just as Aotian was about to step in and deliver another blow, the headless monster suddenly got back up. The impact was as if a meteor had fallen from the sky. Aotian managed to dodge to the side and then turned back to strike fiercely. Through the mist, a more terrifying shadow emerged, prompting Aotian to leap once again. The battle escalated dramatically. A strange crack appeared in the sky, as if a mysterious dark figure from the divine had descended unexpectedly. The pressure radiating from him made it hard for everyone to breathe, and his target was none other than the temple atop the white sacred tree. At that moment, Aotian was fighting desperately against Kawaii. In the blink of an eye, Aotian delivered a powerful kick that pierced through Kawaii. Although Kawaii endured the blow, he absolutely couldn't miss this rare opportunity. Seeing Aotian's foot aimed right at him, Kawaii was instantly pinned down by the magic tree. Kawaii flashed a wicked smile. "Aren't you running pretty fast? Go on, run." As soon as he finished speaking, the chest of the headless monster suddenly opened, and a series of jagged bones erupted like curses unleashed. In an instant, the sound of an explosion echoed throughout the temple. Dia anxiously called out Atien's name. The dark figure unexpectedly circled around behind Kawaii, and by the time he noticed, it was too late. Powerful punches rained down on Kawaii's arms, but he managed to react just in time to dodge. Although this attack didn't inflict severe damage, it was incredibly humiliating. Kawaii was so enraged that he began screaming furiously. As Atien landed, Kawaii was shocked by what he saw. What on earth are those legs? Can he transform into something else? Meanwhile, Dia began to piece together what had happened. At the moment the bone grazed Atien, he had used his dragon claws to sever his own legs to avoid catastrophic injury. In fact, he managed to regrow his legs while airborne. Atien's incredible power left Kawaii deep in thought. To defeat him thoroughly, it was essential to control him and deliver a finishing blow. There could be no chance for recovery. Kawaii began to unleash a powerful ground-shaking skill. What on earth was this guy up to? The prolonged battle was clearly unfavorable for Atien. The tremors from the temple shook the white magic, and this moment was precisely when Atien noticed it. He saw his power gradually accumulating in his strong legs as he leaped into the air. His action shocked both of them. This guy had truly given up his advantage on the ground. With a powerful strike, Atien slammed down onto the ceiling. Was he out of his mind? He came all this way just to destroy my home. As Atien fell with the stones from the ceiling, he was drained of strength, like a lamb caught in a trap. Kawaii approached Atien slowly, laughing heartily. "Now your limbs can't move. Do you really think you can kill me?" Facing Kawaii's threat, Atien calmly asked, "How many people have you killed so far?" The silly question caught Kawaii off guard, making him chuckle. "How could I possibly remember how many I've devoured?" This answer seemed to please Atien. "It seems you still don't grasp how heavy the value of life is." Just as he finished speaking, a pair of black wings suddenly sprouted from Atien's back. The immense pressure of death exploded in an instant. How could one remember how many seeds they've eaten? This response greatly pleased Atien. "It seems you still don't understand how heavy the value of life truly is," he said. As soon as the words left his mouth, a pair of black wings suddenly sprouted from Atien's back. The immense pressure of death erupted in that moment, sending him soaring into the sky. Thanks to the skill Soul of the King, Atien's dragon form in its third stage also transformed into an ancient shape. All of this was due to the death of Kuan, but it wasn't over yet. A strange ripple of energy emanated from the ceiling. Kawaii slowly lifted his head and was met with an unbelievable sight. Those he had previously hung on the sacred tree were coming back to life. And once these people left the sacred tree, it meant that Kawaii could no longer absorb souls through it. A vast army from all directions charged toward Kawaii. At that moment, even Dia couldn't help but think, "I really do wonder if this chicken tastes as good as it smells." In an instant, Kawaii was consumed by the very things he had created. Using all his strength, he managed to break free from the pile of rubble. As he drifted into the darkness, Kawaii charged straight at Dia. "Even if I die today, I'll take at least one of you with me." But what Kawaii didn't expect was, just as the sky erupted with a loud explosion, a brilliant golden beam shot straight towards Kawaii. The light from the explosion blinded him, and as the smoke gradually cleared, he felt someone stepping on his head like a basketball. And this mysterious figure emanated an aura that suggested they had been training for 2.5 years. Kawaii's wary eyes made Dia feel a cold sweat trickle down his forehead. The stranger suddenly knelt down, making Dia realize, "I'm here to welcome you. I hope your journey has been smooth." At that moment, the boy standing behind Dia slowly stood up. Stones beneath Atien's feet suddenly jutted upwards. A massive number of branches from the divine tree shot straight towards Atien, and compared to before, these branches were significantly stronger. While fleeing, Atien glanced at Kawaii, who was using a white spell to continuously replenish his strength. Even the previous injuries had completely healed. A troubling sensation was rising in Dia's mind. The boy was not only sprouting long hair, but his body was also rapidly growing. What appeared before everyone was Dai Bao, an incarnation of the wings bestowed by the goddess on earth. The man whom the heavens and earth had always worried about was now standing before them. But the guardian of the wings before him had the power to shatter space with a single punch. What terrifying strength did he himself possess? After he stood up, Dia only needed to look into his eyes for 2.5 seconds to feel an odd, painful sensation. It was as if the power within his body was resonating with him. Dia looked suspiciously at the silhouette of this man. Who was he? Really kawaii, with a cold demeanor, slowly approached the man in front of him. At the moment their eyes met, his pupils nearly dropped. Could it be that your name is Kongu? Why are you here? It seems your memory is still good. At least you haven't forgotten who I am. How could I possibly forget you? You, the cruel former master, are the reason for everything that has happened today. After speaking, the mysterious figure simply raised his hand, and the guardian immediately pulled Kawaii forward, bringing him in front of the incarnation of the wings. Among the lives we originally created, only those of value were allowed to stand in the sky. Do you think you qualify as a loyal servant of yours? I admired you, respected you, only because I wanted to learn how to fly to the sky. Yet, you sought to tear my wings apart, even going so far as to kill tens of thousands, transforming into this form, just to regrow those wings. Before he could finish, Kongu gently placed his hand on Kawaii's chest, and Kongu's response was only 6 words. You are completely without worth. Immediately, Kawaii's entire body was engulfed in light, reverting to his most basic form. From within, a single shard of resin fell out, just a mere object combining the power of the holy tree. Compared to this fragment from another world, it was still miles away. Goyu was more concerned about the woman named Dia than about Kawaii, the weakling. At this moment, not far away in the Lion Mountain, a fierce beast began to open its eyes. The voice of this being, Atian would never forget. It was a long-buried memory. Goyu's dream was to find the horizon leading to the divine realm on this continent. To fulfill this dream, he was even willing to become an enemy of all humanity. Atian had relied on his tribe since he was young, and all that remained of his beautiful, gentle mother had vanished with Goyu's departure, reduced to mere memories. In the blink of an eye, back in the present, Goyu stood before the woman connected to him. Anger surged within him, breaking through the chains of pain. I've searched for you for 20 years. All the sorrow and resentment transformed into a blade of vengeance in that moment. Atian swung his arm fiercely, the sharp blade aimed directly at the mysterious figure. Yet, the attack was effortlessly blocked by the guardian. The mysterious figure smiled knowingly. Atian, who dares to block my path? Atian dashed toward the guard, but unexpectedly, within just 2.5 seconds, Atian lost his head and then quickly recovered. The guard, feeling curious, asked for his name. In response, Atian simply said 2 words, "Call me Dad." The story didn't add up. It was needless to elaborate. Can you handle this punch, which is a result of my 10 years of training? Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. At that moment, Gokvu and Dia exchanged intense glances. Just as Gokvu was about to make his move against Dia, a battle axe flew through the air, but only cut through empty space. This guy is fast. How does he have such speed? It had been a while since they last met. Hakini, it's been so long and you still haven't given up, huh? If that dark-skinned guy hasn't thrown in the towel, why should I? Indeed, at that moment, the guard sensed something unusual about Atian. He immediately kicked back to create some distance. Atian's form began to change, gradually growing in size with his rising anger. A pair of massive wings erupted from his back, and a deafening roar filled the air, shocking everyone present. Yu looked at the massive black dragon before him and said with a smile, "Today is a great day, filled with old friends coming to celebrate me." The man was lost in his own memories, facing not only painful recollections, but also the towering dragon looming over him. This black dragon was the source of Atian's power. The greater his desires, the more powerful the black dragon became. All the dragon needed was the hatred and anger brewing within Atian. At this moment, Atian had fully transformed into a dragon. His size and strength had multiplied. Even the guard couldn't help but wonder if the man before him had indeed grown larger. The guard radiated a brilliant golden light, while Ao Tian's spiritual energy began to gather in his mouth. With the attacks from both sides, a powerful wave formed between them. After a strong collision, Guyu effortlessly blocked it with his wings. This kid managed to do that without even straining himself, and his mind remained undisturbed. Hakimi seized the moment, fueled by the hope of avenging his fallen comrades, charging straight at Guyu. Just as he was about to swing, Guyu appeared behind him with an untraceable speed. "Lin Lin Huin, Gap and the battle axe are right behind me," Guyu said casually. "Time to meet your good friends." Takimi sacrificed himself once again, as if the god of war had possessed him. "You may defeat my body, but you will never win against me." After taking care of Hakimi, Guyu turned back to Dia. "You seem quite terrified, just like you were in the past." Weak and fragile, Dia lifted her gaze toward Guyu, and suddenly, lost memories flooded back into her mind. In his moments of loneliness and despair, it was the man standing before her who had offered him help. Guyu placed a hand on his chest and said, "The branches within me are trembling. This signifies that you too are chosen by the great tree." As Guyu passed Dia, she immediately expressed doubt about the branches. The branches are the strength bestowed upon earthly beings by the divine. They can transform into human form and possess abilities far beyond those of ordinary humans. As soon as he finished speaking, Guyu thrust a branch into the body of a bird spirit. Instantly, bolts of lightning erupted around the bird, millions of sparks shooting into the sky. I thought a giant was approaching, but it turned out to be just a 2.5-foot tall child. That child was Guyu, who had been imprisoned for many years. At the same time, it was also a brother of the same origin as Guyu, named Keys. Transitioning to the other side, the battle between the Guardian and Ao Tian was still ongoing. The giant dragon hand of Ao Tian roared once more toward the Guardian. After the collision, the advantage of the Guardian was no longer apparent. In front of the Great Hall, the three paths resembled mere toys. Just as he was pondering how to handle the monster before him, Ao Tian suddenly spread his wings in warning. With a mere flick of his hand, he shot out of the temple like a bullet, creating a cloud of dust. Dust obscured everything around. Seeing this, Kiz displayed a hint of concern on his face. To ease his anxiety, a reassuring pat on the head from someone beside him made him feel less afraid. At that moment, Ao Tian was swinging his hand in the air, but just in the blink of an eye, gathered all of his strength to unleash the ultimate technique, Celestial Flame. As he swung his wings, a massive fireball hurtled straight toward the temple. Seeing this, Guyu slowly raised his hand and said, "You dare to underestimate us with just this. There is no place left for you in the Dragon Clan." Just as the light touched Ao Tian's technique, it effortlessly pierced through the flame at the speed of light. With such terrifying speed, Ao Tian couldn't evade the force of this attack. It tore through the clouds above. In a distant place, a boy watched, his voice choked as he shouted, "Ao Tian, this is madness. I came to report on the battle situation. I've confirmed the location of the winged avatar. Just from this battle alone, I have confirmed that the White God technique has been destroyed. Anyway, thanks to the power of the winged avatar, this is truly unfair. But our trump card is the Black Dragon Revenge avatar. Ao Tian has failed. This person had been a trainee who could sing and dance since childhood, all because of a sharp remark that attracted a little fan who could breathe fire. Just a moment ago, on a mysterious land, speed and excitement were unfolding on the back of a dragon. The reason the little dragon was running so fast was that 5 dogs were chasing after it. "Boss, I haven't eaten anything hot for 3 days. Leave that lizard for me. Get lost. I was here first." As the doctor stepped back, the charming figure of Ao Tian appeared before the little dragon for the first time. "Boss, is that the house next door? That would be great. We can enjoy hot meals from now on." Hearing the voice, it seemed like he was a dog from the neighboring village, but why did he look like a human? "Forget it. I'm leaving," Ao Tian boasted, thinking of a little meal at this moment. In the eyes of the little dragon, he appeared as a giant towering at 2.5 meters tall. At this moment, a person, a dragon, and a dog were resting under the shade. The little dragon wagged its tail madly, displaying friendliness. Although Ao Tian was aware, he pretended not to notice. Hey, why do you keep following me? The little dragon said nothing, but continued to nod and wag its tail in greeting to Ao Tian. You look like you don't have any meat. You definitely won't taste good. Ao Tian's words prompted the little dragon to bite him. Do you really want to get hit? The little dragon's reaction was, aren't you a lizard? How can you breathe fire? Could it be that you're a dragon? You didn't pay any attention to me before, but now you can't reach me. Suddenly, the ground shook, making Ao Tian feel uneasy. When he turned around, a shadow from hell appeared before his eyes. It's you. Give me the fire sensation you promised. At this point, Ao Tian had been chased for 2.5 minutes. If he went just a few more meters, he would reach the desert. In a moment of dire straits, Ao Tian unleashed his agility as an intern. Jumping into this desert is really freezing. But what Ao Tian didn't expect was that there was someone here in this desert. The current situation left no room for Ao Tian to think about anything else. The fact that Nongya Tegak was still alive was an undeniable truth. If you're so interested, then I'll have a little fun with you. It'll show you the true power of the Black Dragon's descendant. Just as he finished speaking, a mysterious figure suddenly appeared behind Ao Tian. When did this guy get here? As he took off his hat, the youthful image of Guyu appeared for the first time before Ao Tian. Although this person was the boss of the desert, his sharp instincts still made him feel a sense of fear. With just one glance from Guyu, this character immediately turned to run. Ao Tian was bewildered by what was happening, but he sensed that this person was definitely very powerful. Guyu kindly asked Ao Tian, "Are you okay?" What seemed like a chance encounter was, in fact, the moment when the gears of fate began to turn for both of them. For Ao Tian, this fate marked a significant change in his life, especially as he had just returned to the village. As soon as Ao Tian returned to the village, he caught the attention of Dai Hua. Why didn't you tell your sister where you were running off to for so long? When someone asked Ao Tian about the person next to him, he stammered, unsure of how to respond. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out to him, followed by a stern lecture from his sister. Did you sneak off to some mysterious place again? What would you do if something happened? And what about that lizard on your head? Let's not dwell on that. I'll introduce you. This is Mr. Guyu, the one who saved your sister. A sudden cough interrupted Ao Tian, his palms stained with black ink as he gasped. Mother, are you okay? Quickly, follow me back to the room. You're not fully recovered yet, and you shouldn't be out like this. At that moment, Ao Tian was unaware of the tragedy that was about to unfold. In the blink of an eye, everyone had arrived at the leader's camp. The leader presented a feast while solemnly expressing his gratitude to Guyu for rescuing the tribe's members. This favor he received from the tribe made Guyu very pleased, as it was the destination he had long sought. He sensed a hint of danger in the air. The little dragon sensed something amiss. A familiar gaze struck fear into the little dragon, causing it to hide behind Ao Tian. The leader announced, Mr. Guyu will represent the tribe during our absence. Ao Tian's demeanor shifted to a heavier tone. He then asked Guyu about the purpose of his visit. Guyu candidly told everyone that he was an explorer studying geography and incarnations. After saying this, he took out a warm sheepskin from his bag. Over the years, he had traveled across this continent, encountering all sorts of legends and stories. In this deep crimson desert, there was a particular legend about an incarnation. The leader immediately inquired, Sir, which incarnation are you seeking? His name is Azdahaka, one of the first to be bestowed with divine power by the gods. There are a total of 6 such incarnations, and he is the strongest among them. Not only does he inspire awe in people, but he is also revered by them. People refer to him as the incarnation of the Black Dragon demon, symbolizing his race and status.